Music. Cuba, I am Cuban. And since I was a child, I have always swam on the roofs behind Las Palomas and due to circumstance, life from one place to another, school studying. Then I had to immigrate and in the end now it's been about 14 years or so since they started the topic of the derbies, and I said, well, I'm going to see if now I can dedicate myself a little, as I was a little calmer about the Las Palomas issue, and nothing has gone for me. Thank God, the world has gone well for me. This world of derbies with the pigeons. Of the derbies and nothing, here I am. Now a manager in the derby Corbia Winter. We have been with the derby for 7 years and also running parallel in the others participating in the I have never had time to fly. In the clubs, it always takes a long time. I was an intern in the schools in Cuba. I have always been a child. And I didn't have time after that because the military service, 3 years later military service. And then I left Cuba and here working in one place in another after work, and in the end always been in the clubs behind the pigeon fanciers of the friends that I was meeting in one place in another in Tenerife. Good in Tenerife, yes, I traveled 1 year when I had, I don't know if it was a batch of 17 or 18 chicks that were left at home, and there is a video out there on YouTube that they recorded of me that day because there was a Gran Fondo lottery. I traveled that year and I became champion. I became champion of Gran Fondo. Bottom line, a luck was made. On a high sea that was suspended by Africa, the dangerous high seas began, and I made good of the club. 3.
En el club de nosotros allí en Tenerife Sur, en Arona, Mensajera de Arona, las únicas 3 palomas que entraron.
Pigeons came in from the club. 3 pigeons, 3 pigeons. And that was the only year that I traveled because I had them at the house of a friend of mine, friend Lolo. And then there my friend Lolo came a while to help me then. Between the two of us, we are going to travel. I prepared them and he took them to the club, and it turned out well for us that year. And at the beginning, in the Canary Islands, the palomas that started me were the Cuban pigeons. First they sent me from Cuba, my friends there sent me 2 Arisha pairs Leonardo. Artia, my friend, sent me a very good paloma pair. Then Dr. Boris Hernandez sent me a bronze pair. That was the general line that also worked very well for me. Well, those pigeons died later now because I have had to put in other pigeons. Because the issue of the derbies here on dirt in the European derbies, the pigeons that work have to have a little more speed, and then I have had to work the pigeons. I have had to work with my pigeons with other pigeons, and in 2 TR years, in these last 2 TR years, I have made about 3 generations of young pigeons that I have done my work, my crosses there, and in 2 TR years the pigeons have done well. They have worked very well in the derbies in recent years. In the derbies, more or less, I participate in the ones I can because you can't in all the ones there are, but I have participated in the Costa de la Luz derby last year, 2 years. Final I did a 5th in the final last year I did. the 2 and the 4, and the year before last in the Miguel Infante Marsh I did the Shay and the 12, not the Shay and the 9 in a small group from the leading side that 9 entered I did the 6 and the 9 and the year last year I did the 5 and the 12, which was a very hard lot. Very, very, very hard, and 6 pigeons came, 6 or 7 entered in the day I did the 5th. The 4th was also 100% my descendant of a chick that had traveled to the marshes the previous year. The position was bought by a Cuban friend from the Canary Islands, and with that he made the 4th, and I made the 5th later in the Algarve that same year. Last year I made a luck extreme, also very hard. I did the 6, the 39, the 53, the 120, the 148, the 234. Well, it was a very hard release, and I had a few palomas, and last palomas came in very well. And I'm not a fan of any derby in general. I like to compete in the derbies, because in the derbies in Europe, in Belgium, Holland, Germany, there are Poland, Romania, there are the best pigeons in Europe, and today they are in the derbies. There is a lot of quality from paloma, and I like to compete against the best. I like to work the paloma. I like to make a product, as I have done lately, of a few generations. In my house in Paloma, young people in 3 years, and I like to compete. I like the competition. I have always liked the competition against the best, against the best, and well, no, I don't have a specific derby. I prefer derby. I go to that derby. I study it. I study how the pigeons work on that route, and from there I work on that derby until I get a good result, so to speak, in the top 10, because winning is very difficult. The one who gets in wins, but you always have to try to be within the top 10, and in all the derbies that I have worked in all the derbies that I have commanded in everything, in all the derbies that I have commanded in all the derbies in the top 10 in all that I have participated in, but I am not married to any derby, nor am I a fan of any derby. Well, I'm the ideal pigeon for a derby in terms of bone structure. I don't pay attention to the bone structure of the paloma. Racing for a derby, no, it doesn't break your schemes. There isn't a bone structure that you say, Lala has to be so tall, 24 wing it has to have a balanced bone structure. It has to have, if the pigeon is well made in the hand, it is balanced. It has 27 centimeters of wing. It is well compensated. So better, great, but when it comes to working a line, the work that I do for derby, I do not pay attention to the structure. In the structure of the paloma, I do not have a prototype of paloma that has to be squared like that. No, I look for the derbies. I have always worked, I have leaned more towards them hard pigeons, for the quality pigeons, for the pigeons that stand out in very tough releases of 7 hours of flight, 8 hours of flight for a pigeon that have to be selected, where there are 5,000, 7,000 pigeons, 1,000 quality pigeons, pigeons from the best breeders in Europe. So my luck is hard for them. Attack speed pigeons of these things, no, I have never bought them. No, I do not work with them. I work with them Hard quality pigeon that shows its face in extreme releases later if the release is given at 100 meters per minute or 1,400 meters per minute. And I have the lucky factor that one of my pigeons is in that leading group of that. Speed better not, but it is not the prototype of my pigeon. You find a pigeon of mine at 100 meters per minute. No, my pigeons start working from the head. They check themselves well at 100 meters per minute, at 100. 100 from there down, then that is the prototype of the pigeon that I work with. People who like another type like speed pigeon, and I continue working on that same line. That is the Derby pigeon that I have. Eye pigeons I have few eye pigeons. The pigeon loft of a pigeon loft, simple few pigeons I like to select the pigeons a lot. Every year I try to only give to the best pigeons, the ones that work for me. I eliminate. I always try, because it is always not possible, but I always try to buy my own pigeons. The pigeons that I am working on, even if they don't win, even if they are not among the top 10, I always try to buy a pigeon or some of my pigeons from the jobs that I am trying to make work for me in 2-3 generations. So I have few pairs. I have 12 pairs in that pigeon loft and 8 pairs here. I have 20 pairs, and normally I raise 100 to 120 chicks each year for the derbs. Some of them do leave the reproduction of the chicks to the derbies. Normally the steps I follow are first the breeders that are healthy as much as possible. They are pigeons that are strongly immunized from all diseases. Those that can, but that are pigeons at the time of breeding. Healthy the chicks. When I wean them, see you days before weaning in the nest. The cattle already in the nest 4 days before. In the nest also at 20 of 2024 days. I already do a treatment for the chicks for trichomoniasis. The summit coincided like this in the same nest to the parents and the chicks. Then I give it a treatment for the intestinal flour. And then the cattle 4 days before the cattle are stewed, and when I vaccinate them at 4 days I sterilize them, and when I sterilize them I do another treatment of trichomoniasis. The liters coincided. I give him again for the intestinal flour. And then after 20 days, from 20 to 25 days when I have time, I give him the second dose, and already 4-5 days after the second dose of vaccinating him. Now who the selection for the derbies, I always like to take the pigeons to the derbies with 2 vaccinations to see the name of them. Los Diablos de Cuba when they started the topic of derbies at the level Lionel, that there was the Tenerife Derby, Arona Derby that they started. Was a little more advertising and the very cool videos. It was a derby that came when that was the best derby that there was in Europe, with quality participants from Europe. And then I, as always as a child, the pigeons. I said, well, now I'm going to try to dedicate myself a little more to pigeons, and I wanted to give a name, so I had friends of mine in Cuba who had paloma, which was where I always went cats. Leonardo Risha and 4 friends, and he said, well, we are going to give it a name that is Cuba, as I am Cuban and my friends are in Cuba, and I said, well, we are going to name it the Devils of Cuba, always in Cuba, sometimes that of the Devils, the Red Devils of baseball, and that's where it comes from. They already tanned, and that's how it stayed from. Music. Cuba, well, this paloma. This paloma was the second place in the semi-final, was the second paloma, was the second place in the Costa de la Luz derby last year that came only in the led 2 pigeons. This was the second prize of Costa de la Luz. Music. 2022, this was the position of the G 2023. This year I bought it in a pipe against 3,200 pigeons already in another lot. I think it was 200 kilometers. It also checked very well. Here is the stamp Las G's. Music. This male was the position CU of Costa de la Luz. Last year, the same year that I marked the 2, I marked the 4 was the position 2 and position 4. There were 5 pigeons and I had 2. Music. No, my goal is not I'm going to win this derby, I'm going to win this one, I'm going to beat the other one. No, my goal is to work and perseverance and have a lot of faith and enthusiasm, the same enthusiasm that I started every day. I wake up thinking, hey, what do I have to do that can be better? Try to do something better so that it can be seen that the work that one dedicates every day to see fruit in a future of almost better the work that one has done, and never lose the illusion of the illusion that sometimes time passes and one, due to the circumstance of one thing or another, leaves behind that illusion that one has. And that is what I never, ever try to lose, always. Waking up with that dream and with that illusion of reaching the pigeon house, staying. Thinking today, I want to do this today, I have to do the other thing, I'm going quickly to have coffee, I'm going quickly to the pigeon loft, I'm going quickly to clean everything so I can do something different. That's what keeps me alive in the work of